Okay, guys, I think I'm live now. I had to cancel the previous video because Thinkorswim was giving me some problems. But welcome everybody again. I don't think anybody was on the other one, so it's not a big deal because it's super late right now. It's like almost 11 o'clock East Pacific time. I know most of you guys are East Coasters, so you're probably asleep right now, getting ready for the trading day, make some green trades tomorrow. So TD Ameritrade is giving me some problems today, but anyways, welcome everybody. Welcome all the newcomers to my YouTube channel. Thanks for all the subscriptions and the thumbs up. Welcome to all the new members of our Discord chat group. If you don't know about our Discord chat group, basically we have a whole bunch of traders, like-minded individuals talking about penny stocks and other stocks. And we chat on the app, the Discord app, pretty much every day, all day. And the link to join our specific group is in the description of this video. We originally started way back when we all got into Andy, otherwise known as Utopia, and we started our own group to discuss that specifically, and it's kind of branched off from there. And we have traded other stocks and talked about other stocks and looking at other penny stock opportunities. We have super beginners all the way up to very advanced. People that are trading $100 to people that are trading $10,000. Everybody's welcome and welcome to come and learn. I do videos on the side just purely for members of our group that have specific questions, whether it's charting, whether it's learning how to do triangles. So here you can see one of the guys was asking me about RNVA and what it's going to do, and I was trying to explain to him a descending triangle, and that it normally means that when it hits this tip here, it's going to go down, and as you can see, that's what happened. This one was a little wonky because you have this dip down here, and if you were to draw the line from here, then you could almost say that it's a pennant, but not quite. And pennants typically trade the way they come in is the way they go out. So they come in up, and it would go out up. So I told him it was basically a 50-50 because I couldn't be sure 100% that it was a perfect descending triangle. So let me get this back to RNVA. So that's what our Discord chat group's all about. We originally started with Andy, branched off from there. We've grown, not super fast. We're trying to keep the group semi-small, just so for this purpose, so people can ask questions and learn, and we can bounce ideas off each other. When you get into bigger groups, there's just so many members that you just get lost in there. And I specifically do a lot of videos, so people ask me, I can't even talk, specifically to do a video on a certain topic, and then I'll cover it. If I don't know about a specific topic, I will literally research it till my fingers bleed on the keyboard to figure it out, because if I don't know something, then I want to learn it also. So there's more videos to come. I still need to do a Fibonacci part 2, talking about the actual retracements, which we didn't cover last time on the Fibonacci video. That was just a basic one. And so first off, this video is created because a member sent me a request on when to get out of a stock or when to get into a stock. And so we'll cover that a little bit. First, disclaimer, obviously these are for entertainment purposes only. There's not an endorsement to buy or sell any security. Do not buy or sell based on anything I say. If you would like to know what to buy or sell, seek out a licensed broker. This is strictly for informational purposes, education and entertainment purposes. This is not an endorsement to buy anything or sell anything at any time. If I say this is where you buy or this is where you sell, that means this is where I would buy and this is where I would sell, not what you should do. You should trade what you're comfortable with and what your risk tolerance level is. My risk tolerance and my skill level might be different than yours. So With that said, let's get to it. Let's just tackle something real quick. Okay, so people a lot of times they get into a stock and they're like, how every time I get into stock, and I know I was the same way years ago. I was the same way. It seemed like every single stock I touched immediately went red, and at times it turns you off. You're like, I'm done with the stock market. Why is everything I'm buying turning red? Well, I'll tell you why that's typically happening. Because by the time you find out about a stock, it's too late. By the time a stock pops up on CNBC or pops up on your chat group or your forum, typically it's popping up there because it's already ran up. It's already got done its jump, right? So specifically RNVA. RNVA has been on a lot of people's radar for a long time. And people bought in a long time ago, 0003, 0004, maybe even 0001. And if you had not heard about it, you'll probably hear about it when it's way up over here or something. Hopefully you heard about it somewhere over here and you could have made this money. But if you didn't and you're like, oh my God, this thing's going up, and you bought in, you're like, cool. And then all of a sudden it trades sideways, then it goes down. Then you're like, well, now it's lower than I got in. And then it goes up and you're like, okay, well, I'll stay in. And then it goes back down and you're like, okay, it's back. I'm pretty much even now. And then it goes up. You're like, okay, cool. And what you're not understanding is what is happening with the pattern and what's going to happen. One way you can minimize this is get in way down here. And how do you get in way down there? You run scanners and you do research. As you can see over here on the left, I have my penny stock scanner. This will literally scan and bring me up every single penny stock, or I should say micro penny stock, from 0001 all the way down to 0003. And in that scanner, it must have a volume of like 2 million or more. If it's less than 2 million, it's not going to pop up. Why would I not want to get into a stock that's less than 2 million volume? Because it's not going to move. It's not trading. It's not going to do anything. And if I want to get in, I might not be able to get in. If I want to get out, I might not be able to get out because no one's trading the stock. To get out of a security, there has to be somebody to buy it from you. So that is in there. Is the dilemma. Also, have my percentage change. Ignore these because a lot of times 0001, yeah, went up 99.00% because it went from basically 0 to 1, right? So it went up, so ignore these for right now. But I typically get in stocks way down here, 0001, 002, that 0003. That's kind of like my limit. After that, I become very, very skeptical of stocks. $100 at 0001 could get you a whole boatload of stocks. Same with 0002. For very, very little investment. If I lose $100, or whatever your risk tolerance is, it's not a big deal to me. It's just a big upside, right? If it goes up, I'm going to make a lot of money. So one way as I minimize our risk is buying cheaper, right? Now you can, if you trade higher level stocks, maybe you trade 001s, maybe you trade 1 penny stocks. The same thing exists, right? So the cheaper you get in, the better. And I think that's common sense, common knowledge. But a lot of times you hear about a stock and it's running and you end up buying it higher than you should have bought it. I'll be honest, I'm guilty of that too. I hear about all these people making money and your emotions get involved and the stock, and you jump in a stock when you should have never, ever jumped in that stock because it's too late. Right? This already did its run. 1, 2, 3, and you're getting in here. There's no more upside potential here. So what you want to do is get in as cheaply as possible. Because if you got in, say you even got in down here, you're still in the profit, right? You still got all this area right here. So even though you made a bad call by not getting out up here, right? Because you held and held and held and held, you still saved your butt by getting in here, and you can still sell tomorrow and make a profit. Okay, so that's the entry aspect of it, right? And a lot of it goes into charting. A lot of it is due diligence. A lot of the OTC is a lot of due diligence, doing your research. Do not listen to somebody saying on Twitter that this stock's going to go off, right? Figure it out for yourself. So it's a good source, right? You go on a message board, you go on iHub or something like that, and you say, everybody's talking about this stock. First thing I do is I put up on the charts. If it's already ran up, I'm not getting in it. I don't care if they're saying it's going to go to, $100. I'm not getting in it because the percentage chance of it to keep going is very low. Now, if it's down here and they say it's going to do that, then that might be something I consider. But I'm at that point, I'm going to do my research. They gave me the stock ticker, but now it's my job to either eliminate the stock, going on otcmarkets.com and figuring out if it's a legitimate stock or not, or if they're even reporting. Do they have a stop sign? Do they have a warning on there or not? And then going on the forums and seeing what people are saying about it, what kind of due diligence other people have done. And if somebody puts something about due diligence on a stock that is supposed to be like really good and that it's going to make the stock skyrocket, I don't just take their word for it. I go and research and try to find out, are they telling the truth? Where did they find this? If they found it, I can find it too. So go and search and figure and find concrete evidence that what they're saying is true. If I can't find concrete evidence that, that merger is going to happen or that whatever the catalyst is actually true, then I might hold off. So I do my due diligence. I figure out, yep, that's all I want to get in. It's a good entry point. I buy the stock. Okay. So you're at this point, you bought the stock, you're in the stock. Now, the big question was, when it's running up, how do I know when to get out? Okay. First is you got to have a plan, right? You got to set a plan. When you buy the stock, you need to set a plan, a price target, right? When are you going to get out of a stock? Example, I'm in LIBE and my price target for LIBE was to basically get out or think about getting out when it hit 3.2. Well, it far surpassed that, and I took it all the way up to almost 4s today. But you have to have a target, right? Now, if it got up to 4s and it started to plummet again, I know I can still get my 3.2 order in, right? So you have to have an idea of how much percentage do you want and how much percentage you actually think you can get. And the biggest thing is we always say, don't be greedy. Don't ever think a stock's going to go to 10 cents. We all want that, right? And that's our dream, but very, very rarely does it happen in a stock that we're actually in. It happens to stocks all the time, but very rarely are you going to be in that stock, right? It's 1 in 100, and not only is it 100, maybe you're in that stock, but did you get in down here, or did it go to a penny and you got in right here? Oh, that's great. You got in here and it went to a penny. Look at that. That's so small. You got in here. That's huge, right? You got all that. So a lot of it is dependent on your entry point, right? So you got in the stock, it's running up. So when do you get out? So you have to set your plan. So you say, okay, I got in, let's just for example's sake, I got in this stock at 1 cent, right? Well, doubling my money 100%, right, would be 2 cents, right? And had I set that target, right, and had I put that order in, I most likely would have got filled right there, and I would have maximized the best I could do, right, 100%. But that is pushing it, right? So typically you have to be more realistic, right? If the stock's already run up 50% 3 days in a row, most likely it's not going to do that 50% again and again and again, right? At some point it has to correct. So if you got in down here, you could say, okay, I'm going to ride it for 3 waves and then I'm going to get out, and you could have got out right here and you've been fine. If you got in on the second wave, you have to look at the chart and go, okay, it's already had 2 jumps. It's probably only got 1 more, and set your price target. So say 1.4 or something. So it depends on when you get in, but you have to be realistic and look at the charts and say, okay, it's ran up 100% for the last 3 days. How likely is it to continue doing this? Probably very unlikely. So just because people say, oh, it's going to go to $1, or it's going to go to 10 cents, or it's going to go to a cent, don't worry about what they say. Worry about what percentage do you want. 20%, 30%, that's good conservative. What I looked at today, I said when LIB gets to 50 cents, I'm going to start looking at selling and locking in my profits. So I felt like if I got to 50%, I was already ahead 20%. That's 70%. That's more than plenty. And I told myself if it broke, and so I made another caveat to that. I said if it's going to test 4s, and if it tested 4s and broke through 4s, I'd hold it for 1 more day. If it didn't break 4s and it came back down, I'd put in an order for tomorrow to immediately sell and open and take my profits. So you have to have a plan ahead of time. If you don't have a plan, most likely you're going to just keep riding the euphoria all the way up until it crashes, and then you're pissed, right? So 1, get in a good entry point. If it's already ran, just let it go. I don't care if your best friend in the whole world calls you and says RMVA is skyrocketing, you need to get in. If it's right here, don't get in. Just let it go. This happens every day in the OTC. Don't worry about missing out on that 1000% runner. Who cares? There'll be another one tomorrow, right? So the idea is there's plenty of them. Look at, there's 36 something stocks right here that are potential to be runner. One of these is going to run. I guarantee one of these stocks is going to run and be a huge gainer, right? So don't worry about missing the one yesterday, the one today. Look at one that's going to be your next one in the future, and get in that one, and get in at a really, really good price. So when do you get out? So you can set your price target, and you said, okay, I want to get out at a certain price, but say you got in, I don't know, down here or somewhere, and this day midday it just started climbing, right? And you're like, oh my God, if you would have had your price target set at 1.4, it would have shot past your 1.4. Now, 2 ways you can do it. You can go ahead and at the beginning of the day put your sell order and said limit sell 1.4, automatically sell all my shares, my 100% of my position at 1.4, and then when it hit that, it would have sold and you would have got all that profit, right? Whatever it was. That will save you a lot of work. I do that a lot. A lot of times when I buy a security, I say I bought this stock at 1.1, right? As soon as I get the shares and my order gets filled, a lot of times I go, okay, on this stock, I conservatively want to make 25%. And I immediately put in a sell order, limit sell order for 25% gain, whatever that is, whether that's, I put that order in, and then I'm done. And it just goes and it triggers my sell order and I'm done. Now, other times, if it's screaming up, like in this instance, it's just screaming up, I'll go ahead and cancel my order because I can see the momentum and I can see it screaming up and I know it's going to break through, especially if it's stuff like where it's testing a resistance, and then it breaks through and then it makes a new high. I know it's going to test that high and break through or whatever. Same goes the opposite way, right? It's coming down. It tests this support, comes up. Tests this support, comes up. Lower highs, lower highs, lower highs, lower highs. Keeps testing support. What's going to happen? Eventually, it's going to break the support. Boom, down, right? Same thing can go on the flip side. If say the 1.8 here is the resistance line, and it's hitting it down, hitting it, higher lows every time, hitting it, higher low, hitting it, and it's ascending triangle, same thing. Eventually it's going to break through. So knowing triangles, knowing your charts, putting in your support and resistance lines, and knowing where your support levels are, using your Fibonacci retracements, and using your MACDs, and to see where the momentum of the stock's going. MACD was my best friend today, knowing whether the stock was continuing to go in the uptrend or if it was reversing back down. Knowing how to use the squeeze, knowing how to use RSI and stochastic, knowing how to use the spike scanner and whatnot. So the best thing you can do if you're a beginner and you haven't mastered all this stuff over here yet, and I have it minimized so you can see this chart, is as soon as you buy it, put in your sell order and forget about it. Forget about the hype, forget about everything. Just watch it, right? And if you see it come up, and say you put a sell order for 1.4, right? And you saw it, and it comes up to 139, and then it comes down. Then it comes back up to 139, and it comes down. Then all of a sudden you have a pattern. Are the lows staying the same? Are the highs staying the same? Is it ascending or descending? Do you feel like it's going to break through? Sometimes if it won't touch my order, I'll just lower my order. So I have my order in at 039 because I know it's not actually getting there. So basically also in this case, if I see this pattern, right, I know it's just descending triangle. I know it's going to keep going down. And say I missed this one right here and it's going down. I know it's going to bounce off of this line. So I'll go ahead and put in a sell order for here and get out of it before it goes back down again. Because it's never, ever going to be as high as that candle, right? Just like that candle is never, ever going to be as high as that candle. And that candle is not ever going to be ever as high as that candle. So the quicker you can get out as it's going down, the better. And hopefully you get out before it peaks out here. Because once it hits this tip here, breaks through here, then that's when it starts to plummet. The other way that you can maximize your profit and minimize your risk is by either basically doubling up principal, which means as soon as you double up, you sell. Or what I like to do is, I don't know, what do you call it? The let it ride principle, where as soon as your stock goes up enough where you can basically pull out half and get your initial investment back. And then, so basically now the trade is free and half of your position is still in, and the other half you pulled out, which was equal to the amount you put in the first place. So I put in, I don't know, $200 and it went up a couple ticks and now it's worth, $500. I can pull out 200, leave the other 300 in there, and then I can let 300 ride and it can crash for all I care because that's all free money because I already pulled out my initial investment. That's what I like to do. Because say you're in here, you got in here, it goes all the way up here, right? I'll pull out my initial investment and let the rest ride because now it can go down, it can go up, it can go down, it can go down to zero, and I didn't lose anything because that was all pure profit money. But in the chance that it goes up, 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 I can make all that profit, but not have to worry about the risk side, not have to worry about the downside. And the only way, so those are the different ways you can do it. But the only way you really can utilize those principles and those strategies is if you have a good entry point. So instead of worrying about, I didn't get out in time, worry about, did you get in time? If you get in time, that is half the battle. Because if I got in here, it doesn't matter how much it's crashing now. I still got all this room from here to here. That's still a huge profit, right? So worry about getting a good entry point. If you miss the boat and it screamed up here, either one, wait for the dip and buy on the dip, or let the stock go. Look for something else. Find something else that's running. There's 50 other stocks on here that could do something, right? So find something you can have a good entry point on. That's all what I can say about that. As far as getting better at charting, I can do more videos on charting. Send me a message, comment, thumbs up, subscribe. I can go over how to do ascending, descending triangles. If you come over here, if you're new to my videos, my stock setup, you know, I run a whole bunch of stuff. I got support lines, resistance line, triangle lines. I got Bollinger Bands. I got EMA. I got Cloud, Ichimoku Cloud, and those associated lines. I'm running MACD, TTM Squeeze, Stochastic Slow with the RSI, which is the gray line, and the custom MACD Stoch Spike from Hontech. So that's basically what I'm running right now, and I can tell a whole lot about what's going on with the stock and where it's going based on this stuff. And I don't know if I can pull up. Okay, so here's live. This is the one I was in. How did I know not to get out? So the purple line with my charting software, I think that's maybe where I got in at, but we can zoom in. And if I go to today, let's go 1 minute today. Actually, yeah, so let me show you what it looks like on this one. We'll go to 1 minute today. All right. So my initial, like I said, my initial was to get out at 3.2. But throughout the day, it had this uptrend going on, right? And if you just had this graph, you would have thought that at this point it's crashing, right? But because I have these graphs, and you have the Ichimoku cloud, look at this yellow cloud right here. I know that it had support to keep going up, and it was in an uptrend. And then when it actually broke through my 32 like crazy. It just went right past my 32. So I wasn't even worried about 32 at that point. I was worrying about how high is this thing going to go today. And then it had a low resistance, and then it just kept going up, and then it would test, and then it would go down, and then it would come back up. Then once it broke through threes. So threes is where it was really testing. So I don't know if I can zoom in on the threes section a little bit. So it came up here and broke through threes for a second, then it came down. Then it came up close to over almost exactly 3, and then it went down. Then it came up to test it again, and on the third time it broke through. So I have to use a rule of 3 when they're testing support or resistance. Typically by the third one, if it doesn't break through, I think it's probably not. That's just my rule. You don't have to go by it. But typically, if it comes, like I would have thought this one would have kept going, but since it didn't, that's 1. Then it comes up to the 3 line almost again. Didn't do it that time. That's 2. This is the third one. If it didn't break through this time, then I probably would have dropped my sell order down and sold right here because I have all this profit, right? But it did break through. So now I go, okay, well, now it broke through. So now this is the new support, right? This is the new support line. So I can draw a support line in here. Let's do that. So 3 is now my new support line. So let's scroll over and look what happens. It goes up and it's testing. It screams up and then it comes down, tests the support line right away. Broke the resistance. Now let's test it for support. Tested it. Boom. Okay, it's got support. And then in this given minute, you know, it'll go up and down, up and down, up and down. Boom, 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 boom. Then it goes right. Comes up, comes up, comes up. Now it's up to like 3.6, and it's like, okay, let's test 3.6 area. Bounces off 3.6, comes down. Let's test 3.6 again. Bounces off. That's number 2. Comes down. Okay, third time's a charm. Boom, it breaks through. Now 3.6 is now my support. Was my resistance, now it's my support. And this is looking at the chart live in the day, intraday. So what happens here? right? So it breaks through here. It falls for for 4 minutes, and then it screams back through again. And oh wait, that was at the same one. Okay, yeah. So that's the third one, right? So the third one, so it goes 1, 2, third time's a charm, boom, up. Now let's, like I said, now that that resistance is broken, let's test it for support immediately. Boom, yep, it's support. Didn't keep going down, came back up. Okay, let's test the new one. So it tested 3.8 for a split second. And this is where you could possibly get scared on the stock. I didn't, because this is lunchtime, right? So lunchtime, I knew it's going to take a dip during lunch because the MMs are going to take a break, right? So what happens at lunchtime? It just starts trickling down. But these lines were already validated real-time trading, right? This is scatter plot, because lunchtime is going on, right? So lunch is over. And look what happens when lunch is over. Screams right back up past the original. Okay, let's resume where we left off. Goes up. Okay, let's test that support one more time. Boom. Okay, we're at support. Let's come up. Let's test. We're up here to 394. So 4 is our new resistance line. Bounces off the resistance there. Okay, that's number 1. Comes up. Okay, let's number 2. Didn't make it on number 2, but then boom, 3, it pushes through. So now we made a new high, which was the high for the day. Now at this point, I was actually literally trying to get out. I was trying to sell, but before I could sell, it dropped back down. And then, so then I had to, like figure out what I want to do. Do I want to sell at 3.9? Do I want to sell at 4? Do I want to sell at 4.01? Then immediately it jumps back up again. So I'm like, oh my God, is this thing going to go up even higher? Then it kind of bounces here for the first time. And then here's the second time. Then it jumps back down because it didn't break through the 4.1. Then it's supporting, it tests this line, doesn't break through this time, comes down, kind of tests the support line, comes back up, breaks through again. So it kind of trades sideways, mainly because it's 12:30 my time. Trading for me ends at 1 because I'm on West Coast. So, you know, you can kind of adjust these times for if you're East Coast. So trading's pretty much done. Now they're basically trying to figure out where do we want this thing to close at. I was guessing it pumped down so end of day, people want to take their profits. So this dropped and it scared me. I knew I had support right there at 3.6, which was, even if it closed at 3.6, and I was telling some of the people that were talking to me at the time, if it closed at 3.6, 3.7, I was happy for the day. I mean, that was a huge gain for me regardless. But I had a feeling they were going to pump it up. They tried to make a last-minute run, broke through 4s for the last-minute run, didn't hold true, mainly because nobody's really pushing volume at this late in the day. There's like 15 minutes left in the day. It drops back down, and then they push it back up one last push, and ends. If you look, and at the last second, they huge volume spike here, pushes it back up, and you close at 3.86. So it actually closed right here. I don't know if I'm not scrolled over far enough. Okay, so last minute push, jumped up, and end up closing at 3.86. So that's basically what my mentality going through the trade during the day. So what am I going to do tomorrow? So if it took a huge plummet here at the end of the day and broke through here, so it got above, then broke through again, I would imagine that it would retrace. But because it didn't, because it closed, this made new highs all day, and then end up closing near this. This, if you remember RNVA, I know this is a long video, but I'm trying to cover as much as possible. Remember RNVA, right? 1, 2, 3, right? And then you go back here to live. You got 1 and 2, and this is 3, right? So I'm looking at an exit point at this in this spot. So it's done 3. It's gone from 1, so that's the first double up is 2, right? So that's the first double up. Second double up is here, right? So I look at waves, but I'll look at how many double ups it does, right? So I typically look at if on the third double up, I'm getting out. I also look at if it has 3 waves of spikes, right? So this would be the first wave, boom, up here, and you can call it whatever you want. So the first green period, boom, 1, and then there's 2, and then there's 3, right? So this is where I'm looking at, okay, maybe it's time to exit and take profits, right? I was actually trying to take profits up here. I just couldn't be fast enough. The stock was moving so fast. I mean, look at this. It was just moving so fast. I just could not literally click the buttons fast enough. And I was commuting to work. I was driving. My phone actually froze when I was trying to sell. On this high, my phone like froze, and I literally couldn't do it. And before I could reboot my phone and park, it had already gone back down. So it is what it is. I didn't get the high, but I got close enough. I haven't sold yet. My goal tomorrow is to see, is a third wave the end, or is there one more double up coming? So if I go by the double up, there should be 3 double ups, right? So the first double up is 1 to 2. So that's the first double up. Second double up is 2 to 4, which is where we're at now. And the third double up would be actually taking me through the roof to like 8. Now I wouldn't actually take it to 8. I'd be conservative. I probably would get out at 5 or 6 if it's moving that fast. I'll literally, no matter what, be out of this stock tomorrow. Whether it skyrockets or trades sideways or downturns, I'm out of it tomorrow. Because as you can see, I've already broken 3 different lines here. If you want to actually go and Fibonacci it up, you can probably figure out, you can probably guess for all my Fibonacci learners from my video, you can probably guess what these lines are going to tell me, right? So I'm not going to go by this low because it's so far away. I'm going to go by this low right here. And you can see if I go by this low at the start of it, I should zoom in to do this so I can be more accurate, but I think it's right. I think the lows, let's see where this red candle is. I think the low is right there. Okay, so you literally can see how these resistance lines, right? And resistance lines, 61%, right? Support at 38% line. Now I'm at the 100% line. So it's either going to go through or it's going to retrace. So another video to explain retracements. Retracements basically means it's going to go back down the exact same way that it came back up. So most likely this is going to go right back down the same exact way if it doesn't break through. So first thing in the morning, I'm going to get on. If it can't break through this, break this new 41 high, I'm out. I don't care if I get out at 4 or 386 or 35 or whatever, but I'm literally going to get out as soon as possible right away. I might even put in a stop loss for like 3.5. That way, if they try to do the dump right away, because sometimes opening bell, they'll try to dump right away, either to hit people's stop losses or because it's just going to plummet. So, and if they trigger my stop loss at this point, I wouldn't even care, right? So that will save me from losing extra profit. I normally don't use stop losses, but in this case, as you can see, it can give me a barrier. And then if it doesn't, if it spikes up, then I can just cancel the stop loss and trade this fourth day and go from there. So hope that helps. If you don't know about the Fibonacci lines, I did a beginning video. I'm going to be doing another video, part 2. If you want to know about all this other stuff, which also helps in making all those decisions, let's just go down to 1 here, and all this stuff and how we use this stuff. I have other videos on that, and you can do your own research. And there's plenty of other videos on YouTube too. I try to take the technical stuff and kind of put it into layman's terms so that it's understandable, because not everybody maybe can understand what I'm trying to say or whatever. So that's as much detail as I probably could go into in this short amount of time, even though the video is kind of long. I don't know how long I'm going. I'm just trying to cram it all in. And I can do a part 2, part 3. We can just nail this thing in the bud until you have a comfortable feeling on how to get in, how to get out, what to look for, and all that kind of stuff. So how to get in, a lot of times, if you want to go through in a nutshell, real quick, 10 seconds, how do I get in? And when do I get out? Let's say an intraday trade or something like that, right? So in a nutshell, this is a 1 day, 1 minute, right? So how do I get in to this stock? I look for a spike, right? I find the stock. I'm watching the stock. I'm watching it every day. It's on my list, right? And then one day, squeeze comes off. I get a spike. Spike gives me indication that my RSI, my stoic is looking good, and then the MACD is going positive. That's what the spike does. Now, am I getting the stock right now? Well, I'm not getting the stock right this second because maybe the MACD hasn't crossed over. In this case right here, the MACD had crossed over. So I'd be like looking at that as, yes, I'm going to buy this stock. The closer the MACD is into this zero line, the better, because if it's above the zero line, even better. Below the line means like a downtrend. Above the line means an uptrend. Crossing over means it's about to go green. And the fact that it's so close to the line means it's going to probably go above the line, and we're going to have a really good green jump. I like to wait for these yellow bars and red bars to go away, but because my MACD is like crossed over, probably going to buy. I buy right there, and look what happens. I get blue bars down here. I get green bars on my MACD. It goes up, goes up, goes up, goes up, goes up. If I was an intraday trader and I was just looking for a quick fill, as soon as I get the first blue bar here, I'm selling, right? If I have no PDT roll, I have 25 grand in my account and I can do whatever the heck I want, I'm selling there. I'm waiting till it gets down here, till this goes down the last red bar here, then I'm rebuying, right? Maybe I'm not a day trader like that. Maybe I want to see where it runs. At this point, I'm holding it. I'm not going to sell because I have a PDT roll. I only have so many trades a week I can do. I'm looking at the cloud. The cloud is now green. It's above the cloud. My MACD is above. That means I'm in an uptrend. So I'm not even worried about this little red deal right here because I know I'm above the cloud. I know I'm above the MACD lines are above the zero line, and RSI and all that's pointing up. I know we're good. And it goes up, it goes up, it goes up, it goes up, it goes up. Okay, MACD crosses back over, but we're still above the zero line. Okay, let's see. I know my support. I know I'm still inside the Bollinger Bands. It's going to test the Bollinger Band. Almost 100% going to test the Bollinger Band. Drops down, tests the bottom Bollinger Band. I know I got cloud for support. And it bounces back up into the middle of the Bollinger Band. At that point, MACD is already curving back. I know I'm getting momentum back. I got no red down here. I know I'm going to go back into the green and the blue. MACD crosses over, has a little waver here, crosses back over. Go back blue bar, back green bar. Going RSI points back up again. Got another shoot up. Shoots up again, and then repeats this process again. test the Bollinger Band, rinse and repeat, crossover, blue bars, up, 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 up. And basically it is rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. At this point right here is lunchtime. Like I said, lunchtime, it gets into the cloud. I know when it gets in the cloud, I don't got to worry. Bollinger Bands squeeze up on me. So it's going to trade basically sideways, trade sideways through lunch. I get another spike here. So if you're an intraday trader and you have no PDT rule and you want to trade intraday, that's another signal. Buy me right here. You look up, you basically have nothing going on here. MACD's crossing over here, close to the zero line, and you're in the Bollinger Band. You wait a little bit to see an uptick, and then you buy, and you would buy. First blue bar you would sell. That's for the intraday. Not intraday, still holding like I was. I keep watching that, and we went over the simplified version at the beginning in the other window, but this is the more advanced version of that same story. And you're testing supports, you're doing all that stuff we talked about. You're watching all this stuff, blue, 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 and comes up, actually hits the 100% line. I'm trying to get out. I can't get out because my phone freezes. It goes down, it tests the support. I got my support line. I got the cloud to save me here. I'm kind of worried they're going to try to push it down at the end of the day, but then it gets another spike here, telling me this is another buy point, which is irrelevant at this point because it's the end of the day. Don't ever buy on a spike on the end of the day when it's like the last 30 minutes of the day. I'm not worried at this point right here because it immediately jumps back up above the cloud, back into the Bollinger Band, and the Bollinger Band and the cloud kind of saved me through the end of the day. And then the market makers push it up for the one last push and ends me up about 70 something percent. I think it was like 72%. I posted it on Discord. My little basically screenshotted my phone and cropped it so you couldn't see all my other personal information. I think it was like 72% for this stock, for this trade. And now I'm looking at the future, and that's what the cloud tells me is the future. What am I going to do tomorrow? Well, it depends on if it opens above the cloud or what it does. So we'll see tomorrow. I'll keep you guys updated. Thanks for watching. See you on the flip side. Hope you all have a green day. And Tony is out.